This is Jazz 313 is doing a special on a play that I saw in London. I saw it 3 times. One of my former students was in it, but it's called The Lovely Londoners. It was at the Kill Theatre at the Kilburn Station in London, England by Sam Selvin. But it talked about the WindRush Generation. It refers to people who moved to the United Kingdom from the Commonwealth countries between 1948 and 1973. The term is also used to describe it as HMT Empire WindRush, the ship that carried many of these immigrants. I found this play very touching. It had an impact on me, like when I saw Fences for the first time, it blew me away. My second probably favorite play is Evita. But the WindRush thing that happened to the immigrants, and they came over from whether it was Barbados, whether it was Jamaica primarily, because in the 40s and the 50s, England had a labor shortage. But this play was a 2-hour and 2-minute play, deal with the loneliness that the black people dealt with, whether it was the weather, whether it was a form of racism, servitude, failed promises, broken promises, and some togetherness. I've always been compelled to look at how did all these African diaspora people get to London. This is how they came. And the ship, the WindRush ship was originally called the Mount Rosa. It was captured by the British. The ship was built in Germany in 1930. But the play, I just want to talk about the play and the people of the play, the characters in the play. Many of the WindRush generation was West Indian, and many had served in World War II. The WindRush generation faced job losses, denial of services, and removal despite of being legally entitled to stay. The Lovely Londoners play, if you're in London, England, or if you, I think they're going to run this thing in Toronto, you must see this play. The reason one must see it, to see the humanity of people. People from all these different islands with the hope of a job, a hope of citizenship, dealing with different bureaucratic red tape of England. And I was impressed with the tenacity of the Lonely Londoners and the writer, the story from the immigrant's perspective. They had a young lady who was a domestic, but she was over here with nobody. They was dealing with how it was easier for a woman to get a job versus a man to get a job, about alcoholism, about things that can destroy a family. I mean, in a 2-hour segment, it's really hard for me to, or anybody, the particular writer, Sam Selvin, to, for lack of words, give you the whole story. But the reason I want to bring this to my jazz audience, it is a historical play. It is how the British government and the Caribbean migrants, how they built the country. The WindRush Generation is a significant chapter in British history, reflecting on societal changes of the post-war period. And it is just an incredible play. I mean, a large group of men traveling. I came through London on a luxury cruise liner. These guys, based on the play, some took 30 days, some took 40 days. I mean, we crossed it in 7 days with all the automation. I mean, they was using, I guess, a steamboat, but it was just incredible. Loneliness, isolation. It was no opportunity in the Caribbean. After the war, some of the men, they answered to an overt question from the British to come. There were lots of different jobs available. Other people just wanted to see England, which they heard so much about. They all got on the ship, the Empire WindRush, which left the Caribbean and traveled thousands of miles across the Atlantic Ocean. And I know it's going to be some people in the chat room. Why are we uplifting our oppressors? You know, I try to live in a race-conscious world. I understand racism, you know, in some segments, but I care not to expound on that. One thing I've learned with this Jazz 313, the jazz culture, I've seen it all over the world, in all of my 50 countries that I've visited, is always a jazz community. And the influence that this music has taken, whether it was Josephine Baker being over in Paris for the World War II, whether it was my man Duke Ellington and Dizzy Armstrong going around to the USOs and to the different barracks to hype up the spirit. The WindRush story, The Lonely Londoners, is a story that even myself, as much as I have read about history, and I can remember in high school, we had one chapter in the book talking about the WindRush, and the teacher, he kind of like flipped over it like it was nothing. Now I understand that at the Commonwealth of England at the time, which is tragic, controlled 80% of the world. In England, you'll go over there and you'll see right now they have an Indian mayor, a lot of people from Pakistan. I mean, I felt like I was in New York City. It's a very cosmopolitan place. This particular theater, it was probably a 50-50 mix. It's just an incredible play. If you can pull it up online, that's a copy of the program that I got in front. It's called The Lovely Londoners, the WindRush Generation, and talk about how they was feeling lonely and depressed and isolated. You know, the weather, family, social taboos, social norms, you know, oxtails. They couldn't find any oxtails. It's like me going to college in North Dakota, couldn't get hot sauce or hair grease, you know, black people, you know what I'm talking about. But as I travel all throughout Europe, come back for the Super Bowl, I just want to just share the stories of something that I find compelling, and I hope you find it compelling. And listen, Happy New Year. May whatever God you worship watch over you, protect, and provide for your family. And we'll be back in the States shortly, but please look at the WindRush Generation and understand some things, but this particular play in particular, The Lonely Londoners. Again, Jazz 313, if you like what I'm doing, please click, subscribe, and share. And again, thank you for giving me your ears. I don't take that for granted, and your time. Thank you.